Shabbat, corresponding to Friday, the 31st day of January 2025. Today's breakfast and class graciously sponsored anonymously from Brooklyn, New York, from a person that want to take the opportunity to express their gratitude to Akadosh Baruch Hu as a Sa'udat Hoda'ah, to express her, as I said, Hoda'ah to Akadosh Baruch Hu for all the great things that happened in her life, especially in the last year, that she saw Nisim Meniflaot in so many, many levels. And additionally, sponsoring today's class, Le'ilui Nishmat, the great Hasidic masters, Rabennu Zusha, Me'anipoli, Rabbeinu Meshulam Zusha, ben Rabbi Eliezer, the brother of Rabbeinu Elimelech Melizhensk, which we're going to speak about these great tzaddikim in a moment. But there are three topics that, with Hashem's help, I'd like to attempt to cover today. So we have a rule that whenever a person expresses their gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the person more reasons to be grateful for. Additionally, we have a rule which is going to happen the same thing this Sunday morning. This Sunday morning, I'm sure you heard, we're going to be welcoming the Honorable Chief Rabbi of Israel, Rabbi David Lau Shelita, and it's also the Hilulah of the Baba Sali. So we're going to have a special breakfast and class in the lobby for men and ladies as well to commemorate the visit of a mega Talmid Hacham and also to connect to the Baal Hilulah. But we know a rule that whenever comes the Yortzeit of Tzaddikim, a person who learns and talks about the life of the Tzaddikim, some people light a candle. In our day, we also have a Sa'udah Mitzvah donated in the memory. HaKadosh Baruch Hu connects the essence and the neshama of the Tzaddikim with the sponsor, and obviously with all of us that we're spending time of the day to learn about the life of the Tzaddikim. So stay tuned for this coming Sunday morning as well. Additionally, today's class graciously sponsored by Terry Avramov, Le'ilui Nishmat, his beloved father, David ben Aharon Cohen. Additionally, today's class graciously sponsored by Charlie and Michael Gamal, Le'ilui Nishmat, their beloved uncle, Abraham ben Simcha Gamal, Alav Shalom, that just finished the week of the Shiva. Additionally, today's class graciously sponsored by Rabbi Shaul Kassin and family in honor of my wife and I, that's which a great rabbi of the Westdale Synagogue, Aslaha in all his community endeavors. Amen. Now, I believe that I took care of all the dedications. The class will be longer than the announcements of the dedication. Madhab will take care of everyone accordingly, but it's obviously when things are done, Le'ilui Nishmat or Hoda'ah or Lizchut, it's imperative that we are Makir Tov, that we gratefully and publicly announce their generosity towards the Knis. So, as I said before, I have three topics that I like to cover today, but I think that the first topic of the day, it will be about the topic of the hostages, the situation in Eretz Israel. I am not going to concentrate on all of the stories of the hostages, but I'd like to highlight something very fascinating that happened the last few days in Eretz Israel. And I'm not sure how many of us were aware of the details of the following story. Yesterday, we saw in one side, we saw the hostages being freed, being released. I believe there were 5 Thailandese citizens plus 3 Benot Israel. 2 and 1, 2 ladies and 1 man, I believe. Wonderful. But I'd like to go back a week ago. A week ago, something very fascinating happened in Israel. The mother of one of the hostages, Mrs. Meirav Berger, she issued a public statement begging the Jewish people not to desecrate Shabbat for the release of her daughter. So far, the release of the hostages somehow has been scheduled for Shabbat. By default, that creates a Hilul Shabbat. But let's clarify. Obviously, to release the hostage on Shabbat, you should do it. And you should make sure that she's safe and take care of the hostage accordingly at all levels. But let's be honest, how many thousands maybe go to the point or to the area to take videos, the news media, the video clips, they get shared through WhatsApp and Facebook and whatever social media platform is out there, that it guarantees the Hilul Shabbat. And that's not good. Shabbat is the defense mechanism of Am Israel. That's why it's called Beshameru Bnei Israel et Shabbat. So what was the miracle? That after this passionate plea from the mother of one of the hostages, the daughter was released yesterday on Thursday and not on Shabbat. I don't know what kind of hiccup happened, but and you don't have to give me the reason. I'm not asking. But this shows the power that a mother has. She gave the biggest speech of Israel in this generation. We're not dealing with people that are Shomer Shabbat, Haredim, community life. Wonderful people, but I don't know their levels. And I think that the daughter, this one, Agam, which is interesting, her name was found in the Hallel yesterday. Havchi Asur Agam Maim. It's a pasuk in the book of Tehillim of the Hallel. And then what she has a sign, I'm sure if you saw the picture that says, Kive Emunah Baharti. I believe it's a pasuk from the book of Tehillim. She says, I chose Emunah. And you hear the stories that are coming out that she will not eat taref meat, and she will not desecrate the Shabbat, and all these small things that now suddenly are popping up. And definitely imagine yourself that you're a parent of a daughter that you don't even know if she is alive, because they're giving a list between the list writing and delivery. Who knows what could happen, Haz v'shalom. And this shows without any doubt the power of the Shabbat Kodesh and the power of the Emunah Peshuta, words coming from the heart from a Jewish mother. Which brings me now to the next topic. And this was something that we discussed in the earlier Minyanim. We learned the importance of Tosefet Shabbat. I'll explain. Maybe the mother's statement was not to videotape and not to share videos on Shabbat. Who is she talking to? Most likely to the secular media, to the people which are not really observers of Shabbat. My topic today is a bit different. I don't believe that anybody here on Shabbat, I hope not, uses a cell phone to take videos or to share WhatsApp videos. So therefore, the topic that I'm going to be discussing now is something that is extra. And this topic is called Tosefet Shabbat. The importance of adding a few moments on Friday afternoon before Shabbat start and Mosai Shabbat after Shabbat finishes. And when I say adding, doesn't mean 3 hours. A few minutes, it's good. The Gemara in Shabbat tells us, Amar Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says, Yehelkim emachnisei Shabbat betiveria umotzia betzipori. Rabbi Yossi says, I'll say it to you in the layman's language. I wish that Friday afternoons I'm in the city of Tiberias, and Mosei Shabbat I'm in the city of Tzipori. Imagine yourself that you tell me, Rabbi, I wish that Friday I'm in Brooklyn schedule, and Mosei Shabbat I'm in Los Angeles schedule. That's the Tosefet Shabbat. You don't delay your arrival to the Shabbat, meaning the person welcomes the Shabbat instead of the Shabbat welcoming the person. And Mosai Shabbat also. Do not escape from the Shabbat. What are the added benefits to just adding a few extra minutes every Shabbat as long as it's possible? Obviously, if you have a peculiar matter or a health matter, etc., we understand. But I'm going to tell you two Hidushim that we learned today in the name of the Peri Megadim, the Beni Oyada, Mishpatei Sedek, and others, that they say the following. Every person has a preset schedule for their life. Meaning to say, a person is born and a person eventually meets the Creator. How long will the person live? Shamayim has their answer. We don't have it. But I'm going to give you now an insurance policy, an overdraft protection program, that it says that the person that during their lifetime added a few minutes on Friday afternoon and a few minutes on Mosai Shabbat, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the moment of departure arrive, Hashem puts a stop order, like a check, stop payment. God says, wait, this person has overdraft protection. Where here, this person has 53,000 minutes extra of Shabbat. I made a calculation in one of the minyanim, right? You were with me. If you add only 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after, and some of us do much more, but let's say I give you a minimum, 10 minutes per week. At the end of the year, you have 550 minutes, add another 50 minutes for the holidays, that's already 600 minutes, 10 hours extra. 10 years, that's 10 hours times 10, that's 100 hours, that's 5 days. More, a bit less, okay? Do that times 50. So you can live another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of life just on the credit like you have. You have extra credit in Shamayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that activates this zechut to the person. God says, you added my kedusha in the world, I leave you life in the world. Unbelievable. The third one, and this is fascinating. Couples that are struggling in conceiving children, they should take upon themselves the addition of a few extra minutes before and after Shabbat. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you added minutes to the sanctity of the Shabbat in the world, I will add family members to your home. Unbelievable. People go, treatments, the challenges, the emotions, the stress, the trauma, the money, and all that regretfully happens. I deal with this on a regular basis at all levels. So now we have a magnificent formula. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, invest a few extra minutes and then I'll take care of you as well. Unbelievable Hiddushim in the topic of Shabbat. Unbelievable, unbelievable, unbelievable. Next topic. Rabennu Zusha, we have learned about the great rabbi. Like it? Thank you. We learned about the great rabbi in the past, and really there are so many things that I have what to say about the great tzaddik, and I am hesitant because I also need to learn about the parasha of the week, hopefully, time allowing. But let's give the honor of Rabennu Zusha to discuss a few pointers of his life. And the purpose of us talking about tzaddikim, and guess what? We love Kibbutz Abel and we love the Cholent. We love the Kigel and we love the Maza. You come to the Netz Minyan tomorrow, you'll have schmaltz herring. 7 flavors, by the way, doctor. 7 flavors. Sriracha, hot pepper, jalapeno. In the Netz. Sure, of course. And in the main Kiddush, which is still available for sponsorship, I forgot to say this. Just a reminder, Maza and Cholent. And guess what? There is never leftover. Never. Never leftovers. There are Shabbatot that I only see the food. It's like, Einaim lahem. I see the food, I can't touch it. Because by the time I get there, and I don't mind. Because my wife prepared a nice Shabbat lunch. But I enjoy seeing the people enjoying and socializing and having a great time. So, Rabennu Zusha was born in the year 1718 and passed away in the year 1800. One of the great tzaddikim of his generation was, besides him, was his brother, the famous Noam Elimelech that is mentioned in the Hokle Israel. In the opening pages of the Hokle Israel, you have the tiny notebook of the Noam Elimelech with good tips for life. So irrelevant of their background, we concentrate on the messages that they deliver to the world. And even though he is gone for over 200 years and change, the message are eternal at all levels. And I'm going to go straight to the messages, but maybe I tell you something about his parents. His father was Eliezer Lippe. He was a very wealthy gentleman, but he was very sensitive when it came to matters of spirituality. In other words, despite his financial success, he made room for godliness. Sometimes when a person reaches a certain level, they are so busy either working or enjoying the wealth that they have, that they put God on the side. Chas v'shalom. The father of these two tzaddikim, he will prioritize his spiritual essence of life, and obviously he was the follower of the Magid, which was the one who took over after the passing of the Baal Shem Tov. Further, his mother, the mother of these two tzaddikim, she was a very generous person, Baruch Hashem, and every Thursday, it says, that she will go around the town to distribute money for the aniim of the town on Thursday, so they will have enough time to prepare for Shabbat. But what struck me on this biography was that the driver never saw her face. Seniut. She will sit in the back seat of the wagon driver, and she will say, stop here, get down, deliver, come. He never saw her face. Beyond our understanding. One of the things that these two, in the Hebrew language, they are called Ahim HaKedoshim, the holy brothers. You know what they did one time in their life? They imposed upon themselves exile. What's the meaning of exile? They will not sleep 2 nights in the same town. They will travel like poor people. Why they took upon themselves such a extreme way? They said, we want to experience what does it mean that God is in exile. Shechinta begaluta, the Zohar HaKadosh says. Shechinta, Hashem's holy presence, it feels evicted because we have no Bet HaMikdash. We are in exile. Let me ask you something. We are in exile. Are we really in exile? Don't answer me. We are in exile because the entire Jewish world is in exile. But we don't really feel what does it mean to be in exile. The only time we remember that is when some act of anti-Semitism suddenly activates, pops up, and then suddenly, oh, we are in exile. Something very powerful. I'm not telling you to do this, but just creating to build the foundation of this great tzaddik that we are referring about him today. Now, Rabennu Zusha was a great Talmid Chacham, and he had a particular midah, good attribute, good character trait. What was it? Learn from everyone. If there is something good that I can learn from someone, I learn. Whatever that meant. If it meant coming to the synagogue on time, if it meant to be happy, if it meant respecting others. But the biggest hidush is that Rabennu Zusha says you can learn even from a criminal, from a thief, ganav, different than Gazlan. Gazlan steals publicly. He has no fear. Ganav, quietly, at night, nobody knows. So you will ask yourself, I don't understand. What can you learn from a thief? Listen to the lessons. Number one, he works quietly without others knowing. He's quiet, low profile. Number two, he's ready to place himself in danger, the danger of being corrupt. Number three, even the smallest details of great importance to him. If somebody's going to commit a crime, let's say they want to rob a bank, usually, right, at night, they don't just wake up one day and say, we're going to do it. No, they look, they manage blueprints, they scout, right, in plain sight. Number four, he labors with great toil. Number five, zerizut, alacrity, agility. He doesn't waste time. They tell you, we have 3 minutes to do this. Number six, he's confident and optimistic in the success of the mission. And number seven, if he did not succeed the first time, he tries again and again. Now, if we were paying attention, maybe I gave too much information. If we take all these comments about a criminal, now transfer them to the service of Hashem. For example, I'm going to say the list again, but now using a godly example. I spoke about the crime. Let's make life easier for everybody. Now, the first one, he was quietly, without others knowing, humility. Humility. What you do with godliness is between you and God. Number two, he's willing to sacrifice for the mission. How many thousands of stories we have heard during the Holocaust, during the Intifada, during the Inquisition, even now the hostages, the girls who he did not desecrate Shabbat and never ate non-kosher meat and never ate bread in Pesach. Can you imagine you're a hostage? You're a hostage, and what they're giving you, Hamas, to eat? Bread and non-kosher meat. because Hamas knows that if a Yehudi eats Hamas in Pesach, what we learn on Tuesday in the Zohar, right? It affects the neshama. If a person eats taref meat, it's also a problem. So whatever they ate, they had fruits, vegetables, etc. Unbelievable. Number C, even the smallest details is a great importance to him when it comes to the performance of the mitzvot. We don't just do heke, awam, and chalas. We do with the details, with the proper intention, etc., making the great effort, the same thing. Alacrity, that means the opposite of procrastination. Procrastination means to delay, to postpone, mañana, there is time. The opposite, Avodat Hashem, goes confident and optimistic that will be good. And in the event that the person did not succeed it, the person keeps trying. Meaning to say a person did an Avon. We don't say, oh, once I did an Avon, so tomorrow it's already not a good day. No. Okay, today you did the Avon. But after today, there is tomorrow. And there is always the good hope of getting better and better. Very fascinating and very deep. Now, he wrote something that is a class by itself, but I'm going to try to explain it. And I did some homework before, so I can do it a bit quicker. I'm going to start writing as I talk. He writes and it says that we have a gift called Teshuvah. Okay? What is Teshuvah? Teshuvah means basically returning, repentance. That's it. So the great Rabennu Zusha writes and it says that the word Teshuvah is actually a hidden code. Yes, it means to return, but it says, I'm just almost done as I'm writing it as I talk, and okay, here you have the word Teshuvah. Teshuvah. So far, so good. So the great rabbi say that these 5 letters are actually 5 different pesukim scattered throughout the Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketubim. And if a person is able to activate these 5 messages, Teshuvah is guaranteed. And great spiritual heights is achieved. The first one, the pasuk says in Perashah Kedoshim, Mehila, Perashah Shofetim, I apologize, Tamim Tihiyeh Im Hashem Elokecha. What does it mean, Tamim Tihiyeh Im Hashem Elokecha? Wholesome be with God. And also Tamim can be explained like the topic of sincerity. Be sincere with God. What does it mean? This pasuk is the continuation of the previous pesukim that says, don't follow the deities and beliefs of the pagan worlds of statues and idols and all these things that the Goyim used to do. Connect with God. You don't need a middleman. You don't need an intermediary. You are able, every Yehudi has the power to connect directly with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Oh, that sometimes a person needs a rabbi, a person needs a community to help achieve that goal, that's for sure. But don't think for a moment, no, I'm so far from Hashem that God doesn't want to see me. There is no such a thing. Unless the person commits certain transgressions of a certain level of severity, that's a different story. But overall, the doors are always open. Second one, Tehillim, Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. I place God constantly in front of me. What does that mean? If a person is thinking about a Kadosh Baruch Hu, like many people say, En od milevado, there is nothing in the world but a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Imagine yourself thinking constantly about God. What better option is there in life? You're connected to the Wi-Fi, non-stop. Non-stop, you're connected. That's the meaning of Shiviti Hashem. I place God always in front of me. The third one of the Vav is Be'ahavta Lereacha Kamocha. Pasuk in Perashat Kedoshim. The Pasuk says, Lotikom Belotitor. You're not allowed to act in a vengeful way. You're not allowed to hold a grudge, but love your fellow self, your fellow as you love yourself. And there are many messages when it comes to this pasuk. So powerful is this verse that the one and only Rabbi Akiva says, Ze kelal gadol b'Torah. This is one of the biggest fundamental essence of the Torah. Personal relationships. Many times, and we have said this in the past, many times a person, may be a champion in the spiritual relationship with God, is a hero, so to speak. He's a great Jew in his godly connection, but is substandard when it comes to interpersonal relationships. The famous story of Shabbat, when a Gentile came to Hillel, remember the story? And it says, I want to become a Jew in the time that I'm able to stand on one leg. So what does Hillel Azaken says to this guy? Whatever you don't like to be done to you, don't do to others. What is Be'afta L'Reacha Kamocha? Let me ask you a question. Do you like if somebody screams at you? Do you like if somebody curses you? Do you like if somebody cheats you in business? So why you do that to others? That's the message. Hazako Baruch. Whatever you don't like to be done to you, don't do to others. That's it. Once we put that statement in our brain, right away, anytime anyone is about to do or to react or to say something negative, we'll say, hold on a minute, how will I feel if somebody tells me XYZ? That brings you self-control. You have self-control, suddenly you're becoming better in people's relations. Unbelievable. And guess what? I give you an exercise. According to the holy books, when the Torah says, Be'afta l'reacha kamocha, we usually translate it like reacha means your friend, your fellow man. According to some commentators, this is referring the relationship between husband and wife. Because if you don't have a good relationship between husband and wife, how can your relationship outside better? Powerful, powerful statement. The next one, a very famous pasuk from Mishle Shlomo HaMelech, the bet of Teshuvah, that says, Bechol derachecha da'ehu, behu yeyasher orchotecha. Literally means, in all your ways of life, you get to see godliness, and He will smooth your ways. What does it mean? The Mefarshim explain that many times people go back to the previous statement, have a great relationship with God, but when it comes to business, they have a different Shulchan Aruch. They have their own Shulchan Aruch, and they allow themselves to do XYZ. And many times people say, no, business is business. Synagogue is synagogue. The Pasuk says there is no separation. It's like you want to take a haircut, and somebody will tell you, okay, chop off your head, deliver it to the barber, and then come back. Does it make sense? Of course not. That's exactly what Shlomo HaMelech says. Bechol derachecha da'ehu. Even in matters where you think that because they deal with money, finances, or materialistic matters, godliness, it takes a step back. Has v'shalom, Shlomo HaMelech says, Bechol derachecha. Any aspect of life. If it's the aspect of business, there is a kosher way to do business. There is a Torah way to do business. The Torah doesn't tell you don't do business, don't make money, and don't live a good life. But the Torah is telling you make money, but don't work on Shabbat. Make money, but be honest in business. Make money, pay the salaries of your employees on time, which is a mitzvah from the Torah, and many other matters. And I use the example of business and money because usually the way the Gemara writes, there are three ways that you can know a person. Koso, kiso, kaso. In the financial matters, how they handle them, in the drinking habits, and in the anger management. If they get angry very fast, that puts a yellow sign on the person's head. If they cannot control the alcohol, that's a red flag. And if a person is not honest in business, that's also another red flag. There are three red flags, no yellow flag. All three red flags. That's what the Gemara writes in Masechet Erubin. And it says here that Hashem will make the goodness in the pathways of the person. In other words, the moment that we feel that Hashem becomes an integral part of our life, and when I mean our life, I don't limit our life connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu when it comes to serving God, when it comes to Avodat Hashem. What Shlomo HaMelech is telling us is, don't pick and choose. For this I like God, for this I don't need God, and for this send God to Florida on vacation. Haz v'shalom, Shlomo HaMelech says. In every step of the way, there is room for godliness. You want to build a home? Chazak u'baruch. Make sure to have mezuzot. Make sure to have a kosher kitchen. Make sure to put a ma'akeh around the swimming pool. And above all of the above, make sure that it's close to a synagogue. Unless you're going to have two houses, one for the weekday and one for Shabbat. We have people in our community that have it. They have an apartment especially for Shabbat to be next door to the knis. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's a big zachut. Unbelievable. So the Torah doesn't tell you don't leave. You want to go on vacation? Faddal. Go on vacation, but make sure you're going to have a minyan, you have a mikveh if you need it, you have a kosher restaurant, you have a normal place to pray. You know, somebody said, I went to a place and there was no minyan and no kosher restaurant. I said, who asked you that? Who told you that you can go? Who told you that you can go? You automatically allow yourself no food, no minyan. And don't tell me that I sound like an extremist. And this is the reality of what Shlomo HaMelech is telling us. He says, go on vacation. What do you think people come here to Aventura? Or people go now to Orlando, people go to different areas, in different cities, in our state, Baruch Hashem, because it's easy. You have minyan, you have kosher food, you have restaurants, you have outing for the kids, nice weather, Baruch Hashem. Last week was a bit challenging for us, Mehila. We have a 57 Fahrenheit weather, you know, compared to 70, 72, 75, Baruch Hashem. But besides that, whatever we need, we have. And like this, Shlomo HaMelech says, if you start reprogramming your mind that whatever I do, I make sure that the godly component is there, we are fulfilling this particular pasuk, which is the bet of Teshuvah. And the last letter of the word Teshuvah is the letter He at the bottom that says, Haznea lechet im Elokecha. Walk discreetly with Akadosh Baruch Hu. And the question is, what does it mean, walk discreetly with God? Usually, to most of us, the word seniut, when I speak about, or when we speak about seniut, what is the first thing that comes to our mind? Dress code, modesty, dress code, suitable. So here explains a very interesting concept. And it says in the pasuk of Micha that says that even when it comes to your godly relationship, it should be between you and God. There is a verse that says, "Lasenoim chokhmah." Those that walk around with modesty, they have wisdom. And I repeat, the modesty of, not the modesty of the dress code today, the modesty in their personality. They don't brag. They don't brag. I'll tell you a story. No names. A few years back, I met with someone, nice person, very successful. When I mean very successful, could be 9 to 10 figures. No, 9 figures. Yeah, 9 to 10 figures. Nice, nice. Sounds nice. And he asked me a question. And I told him, that's not available. He wanted to do something that's not available. Somebody else got the zechut for that. So he says to me, those were his words. If he has the zechut, he says, who am I to take it away from him? Somebody next to me said, perhaps we can do something about it. Yani, you're meeting with such a person, you don't want to say no, negotiate. He says, Hasbe Shalom. If this person has this zechut already, he says, who am I to take it away from him? We'll do something else. True story. Or some people, they tell me, Rabbi, yeah, I get up at 5, I do Birkot HaShachar, I read Tehillim, I do this, I do this, I do that, then I come to the synagogue. So I told him the other day, somebody here, I said, Hazaku Baruch, beautiful everything you do, but do me a favor, don't tell no one what you do privately. What you do privately is between you and Akadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, maybe sometimes you need to make some noise, especially for the children to see, because you give a good example. When you say, I need to get up tomorrow morning early to go to the minyan, I need to finish up quickly because I have a class, whatever, you make these statements at home, they do carry weight because your children, they see, oh, my father is going to the minyan, my mother is going to the class, my father is going to a class. That's one thing. But on the other hand, to brag about our godly connection, the Micha Navi says, keep it for yourself. One more lesson from Rabennu Zusha. He says that he always look for the benefit of the doubt. He will always look to put the positive instead of the negative. There are some people that regretfully, they see everything dark, everything gloomy, everything cloudy. He was the opposite. Zechuto yagen alenu. I'll go 3 or 4 minutes, a very powerful lesson from today's parasha. We find in the parasha a mahloket, an argument between Moshe and Paro. At the beginning of the parasha, you see that Paro asks Moshe, Mi va mi haolechim, I'm going to give you permission to go to serve your God. But who is going? Who is going? That's the question of Paro to Moshe. What Moshe says, Vayomer Moshe, Binareno o Biskeneno Nelech. We're going to go with the youth. We're going to go with the senior citizens. bebanenu ubibnotenu, with our sons and our daughters. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu says to Paro. Vayomer Paro. Paro makes a counter offer to Moshe. Lochen, I don't approve your statement. Lechuna Gevarim, I do it Hashem. Take the seniors. Leave the youth for me. That's Paro message to Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu says, Paro, you don't understand. What Paro says to Moshe? Moshe, I understand. You want to serve God? Take the seniors. Take the people that I cannot change. But leave behind the youth and I will reprogram them. And what Moshe Rabbeinu says, if we take the seniors only, there is no continuity for Am Israel. That was the debate of Moshe and Paro. And Paro says, I cannot change the seniors, but I can reprogram the youth. Moshe Rabbeinu says to Paro, without the youth, the seniors wrote the final chapter of history. And that's not who we are. Binarenu ubiskenenu. We need the minyan for the main minyan. We need the minyan for the youth. We need the minyan for the teens. We need the programs for the girls. We need the program for the young children because because everybody has a different need. Everyone has a different need. If you're a young man, you have a certain type of need. If you're a young lady, you have a different type of need. If you're mature, married with children, it's a different type of need. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu teaches us, that Am Israel cannot say, oh, I did good, I did so good, and not worry about the future. The opposite. It says worrying about the future is the continuation of the link that began Abraham, Isaac, Yaakov, the Shevatim, and obviously each and every member of Am Israel. And this is another Hidush that it says that Moshe Rabbeinu in this Pasuk uses twice the word Nelech. We are going. We are going. Why you have to repeat twice? We are going. We are going. If I ask you, where are you going to be Shabbat? I'm going to be in our synagogue. That's it. You don't tell me, I'm going to the synagogue for Shaharit. I'm going to the synagogue for Mincha. I'm going to the synagogue for Arvit. I'm going to the synagogue one time. It says here, the interesting Shemo Abraham, the Sefer says that Moshe Rabbeinu is telling Paro, Paro, you need to know one thing, that the only way that the Jewish people will survive is if we are in a going mode. What does it mean, going mode? There are two parashiyot at the end of Sefer Devarim. One is called Nisavim, standing, stationary. The second pasuk, the second parasha, it's called Vayelech, and he went, meaning of going. Now, why two parashiyot, two opposite languages? One is stationary, and the other one is moving. Move it, move it. Don't they say that when you walk, the army, whatever? Don't they say that? Now, what is that meaning of that pasuk? I think to summarize this statement and the class for today is as follows. There is a famous pasuk in Zechariah Navi that says, listen to the Hebrew word, and then I'll translate. Benatati lecha mahlechim ben ha'omedim ha'elle. I'm going to skip the background of this Haftarah. Very interesting. But basically, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling Yoshua Kohen Gadol, I will give you a walkway among those that are stationary. Who are stationary? The Malachim. The angels are stationary. They don't have to do mitzvot like you and I need to do. They are created, mission, fulfillment, come back home. And therefore, there is no Yeserara. There is no marriage. There is nothing that the human physical things that we have. But us, we are called Holech. we are moving. We can move up or, God forbid, the opposite. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu says. The only way that the Jewish people are able to continue moving is if the youth follows. If the youth, I want you to pay attention to the slideshow screen there. When I finish, I want you to see the different programs that we have for the young boys, for the teens, for the girls, for the teen girls. Somebody asked me, why you have so many programs for so many kids? Can you put them all together? The answer is no. Each one, let's say you have a grandson, right? What grade is he in? Sixth grade, right? So why isn't he in first grade? Put it together, save money. Because it doesn't work. First grade is first grade. Sixth grade is sixth grade. 11th grade is 11th grade. Same thing here, Moshe Rabbeinu says. You cannot tell me be happy with the seniors. The seniors leave the world, God forbid, Haz v'shalom. Who is going to continue the legacy? Who is going to continue the Shem Tov? Who is going to continue the Zera? Who is going to continue the next chapter of Jewish history? That's what Moshe Rabbeinu says. בבנינו, בנערינו, בזקנינו נלך. בבנינו, בבנותינו, בשונאינו, בבקרינו. All of the above. No one man left behind. Don't they have this in Israel? Right? They have such a thing. I think many armies have it. We don't leave anyone behind. That's exactly what Moshe Rabbeinu says. He says, because if I leave one Jew behind, it's not that I left them behind. It's that his presence in the world came, lived, left nothing. We need continuity. We need continuity. That was the debate between Moshe and Paro. Baruch Hashem, we all know the happy ending of the story. So, Kahal Kadosh, let it be the Zechut of Shabbat, Perashat Ebo, and all the Tzaddikim that we talk about and learn lessons, and especially the opening statement of the mother, the message of the mother of the hostage, that is unbelievable. Look at the revolution she created in Shamayim. That Shamayim somehow does whatever needs to be done to alter that the release, instead of being on Shabbat, was on a Thursday, so there will not be massive and public desecration of Shabbat for those that are not affected by the mission. Obviously, the soldiers, the health workers, the hostage, etc. They have to save their life. But the media wants to sell product, and the people that like to be, whatever word, I'm not sure what the word is in English. I know it in different languages, but I'm not sure if I can say it. No, metidos. Metidos. Okay, don't worry. I'll tell to you later what it means. No, that's not that. No, in Spanish sounds different than the meaning in English. Involved means I'm involved. Metido means he wants to put the nose. You understand? That's it. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen be'amen. Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashia omer, Tzak Kadosh Baruch Hu lezakot